Hi everybody, welcome to this exciting video we have for you today. We're talking spoilers for Infinity War. That means if you've not seen the movie, I don't know why you're watching this. Joining me today is my good buddy Dan Jensen. Dan, how are you?
I'm excellent! I want to talk spoilers! This is so frustrating! I gotta get it out!
Okay, before his head explodes, we should probably just start this video. So, Dan, I'll throw it over to you. What was your favorite scene in this entire film?
Ironically, my most favorite scene in the film was also the scene that I hated the most, and that was where our good pal Gamora has her life cut short. Because, and this is something that I couldn't talk about in my own review, which is really great to get it out. Like I was saying, that the movie had so much emotional weight, and one of the reasons is because Gamora is my most favorite character in the MCU. People have said to me in the last few days, like, why is that? And it's because A, she looks amazing. B, I love her fight scenes and, you know, like she's just a kick-ass character. But I also like the fact that she has this vulnerability, you know, like in the pelvic sorcery scene and stuff like that. You know, she's just, I just love that character so much. And in that moment when that happened, man, I was a blubbering mess. Like both times I've seen the film now, it just doesn't get any easier. But I just love the way that they did that scene where, you know, I love that she sort of thinks she has the upper hand where, you know, she's saying to Thanos, like, ha ha ha, you know, I've waited all my life to see this happen for you to lose because you love nothing. And then, you know, you see that tear in his eye when he grabs her and she's struggling in slow motion because she doesn't want to die. And, you know, when he throws her down, like, but the tears in his eyes and everything, it just elevated his character to a whole new level. And that scene, it's so beautiful and bleak and depressing, and I just loved it so much. How about you?
Well, yeah, that scene was fantastic. Like, that's definitely up there for my favorite scenes. Like you said, how it just humanizes Thanos with the tear in the eye. Just, I've seen it twice, and it gets me. It got me both times, and it's gonna get me again, guarantee it, because she's such a good character as well. But my favorite scene would probably be it's the same kind of storyline. It's when Star-Lord Peter Quill, he finds out about Gamora, how she died. Just the whole, how it's building up, you see it coming because, well, you've seen it on screen, so you know it's coming. And just how they're that close to getting the glove off of Thanos' hand. And it's just perfect filmmaking because you have everything coming together at just the wrong time or the perfect time, depending how you look at it. And it just adds so much depth to just the fact that they had this huge thing going on in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2. Their relationship was building up, Gamora and Star-Lord, and how it's not going to come true, at least at the moment, the way the world is at the moment. It's not going to happen.
What do you think of the criticisms that scene has been getting? I mean, there's been so much, you know, so many people saying stuff online about how, oh, that was really stupid that Peter Quill would do that and it ruined the scene. Like, I just don't get that because it was such a raw human reaction that he had in that moment, and I would challenge anybody not to do the same thing. So, well, in your mind, like, yeah, what do you think about the criticisms that moment got?
I've said the exact same thing to people when they're like, oh, it felt so contrived that moment, and they just made it just to have everything fall apart. It's like, well, yeah, I'd like to see your love of your life get killed and you not to have that reaction. Come on, that's just human reaction. And you could say that about like any film when you really just break them down. Everything is contrived. Someone wrote the film. Like, for example, Lord of the Rings. The whole idea of them going to Mount Doom years before with, I think it's Isildur. They're trying to toss the ring in. He's like, no. It's like, why don't you just push him in? That's one person over the entire world. It's not really, and he's turned evil, so I don't know why you wouldn't do that. You just shout at him. So people didn't really make that much issue with that scene, and that set off the entire trilogy. So I don't see why people And even the same people are saying Lord of the Rings fantastic movie than this one. Because of that one scene. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You're just picking and choosing. You could say that about any film. So I don't know, it frustrates me when people say that, because, yeah, it's just filmmaking at its finest. So, yeah.
I think it's more because we do live in a society, in a world now where people just feel the need to pick on things. Like, yeah, I mean, for me, Infinity War was flawless. And as I said in my review, I went into this movie with Marvel fatigue. You know, I wasn't expecting that much from it, but walking out of it, I honestly think it belongs in my top 10 most favorite movies of all time. I couldn't fault the film. It really made me feel something. Like, and yeah, it was cleverly crafted, brilliantly written. The tones were balanced perfectly. It's seriously one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, but people obviously just feel the need to, you know, I don't know if it makes them, if they're trying to be intelligent or something like that, if they think, oh, well, I'm going to write a criticism about it, you know, and that way people will think I know all about films. So yeah, it's probably a case of that, but to hell with them. I loved it.
It's funny you say that about the whole idea of this day and age that we live in with the internet, people speculating too much, because I've already seen people speculating about Avengers 4, mainly because of the point we're going to be talking about very soon, the ending with everyone dying or fading away. They're already saying, oh, they're not really dead, they're going to be back in the next one. And that kind of ruins it, because we know they've already signed contracts to do more films. You could easily say that about The Empire Strikes Back for Star Wars if that was done on the day of the internet, because Han Solo, he gets frozen in carbonite, and we think that's it. We think he's had this tragic end to his story, and then he's back in the next film. This day and age, we would have known that, because there'd be speculation he's got a contract, we've seen him on set. So yeah, I get how people argue that's the day we live in, but you gotta remember, we're fans watching this movie. We're not the filmmakers themselves. Let them tell the story they want to tell. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. But now that I've said that, we should really talk about the character deaths, because there are a lot.
Yeah, roughly 3.5 billion deaths.
Yeah, so many. I've written down everyone that dies, so I'll quickly read it out. The ones who we think will be permanent are Luque, Heimdall, Gamora, Vision, and then the ones that fade away at the end are Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the Winter Soldier, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, all of the Guardians of the Galaxy except for Rocket, Nick Fury, and Maria Hill during the post-credit scenes. That's a big list, man.
I know. So, what do you reckon? Are they gone? Are they coming back? What do you think?
I think they're all going to come back, or at least most of them are going to come back. I wasn't sure at first, but then Star-Lord and the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy, they disappeared, and we know we're getting another Guardians movie, so I thought, that ain't going to work if we're only going to have one Guardian left. But then I made the point to my friend the other day, it's not really the fact that all these characters died, which is what everyone's getting so hung up on. It's that they lost. Everyone lost in this movie, and Thanos won. I think that's what the filmmakers were going for.
Yeah.
But everyone just got so hung up on, oh my god, all these characters are dead, or no, they're not really dead, they're coming back in the next one, or just everyone having that argument. And that's not the argument we should be having. It's that they lost and Thanos won. Do you think that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the thing that, and you know, so many people are comparing this film to Empire Strikes Back, and rightly so, because the bad guy wins in this movie, and it's such a rare thing, and it's something that I love, though. I really love downer endings where the bad guy triumphs, especially in a unique and creative sort of a way. And yeah, you know, I'm not really one to speculate too heavily. You can't really help but wonder where it's all going to go, but I'm not going to sort of sit down and do a whole bunch of research on timelines and parallel universes and all this sort of stuff. The guys over at Rewind Replay, plug, they released a really excellent video today, actually, on speculations as to where it's all going to go. So I would rather even just say go watch that video rather than me trying to say anything. But yeah, I don't know, because there were two different types of deaths. There was the more permanent death, a la Loki, Gamora, God damn it. But then the whole thing of everyone turning to ash, I don't know. I think there's something else going on there, and I don't know what. I'm going to wait a year till we find out, what they've got in store for us. But yeah, like you said, I mean, they can't do a Guardians movie without the Guardians. I would like to think Gamora's going to come back only because she's my favorite character. It would be interesting to have a Guardians film without her, although maybe I'm just biased. I can't see it happening. But yeah, there was also that scene, though, at the end where Thanos is in the Soul Realm and there's the little kid version of Gamora again, asking him, what was the price or whatever. So, she is still there. She is still around. But yeah, who knows? But either way, yeah, look, the ending was amazing. Aside from the bad guy winning, all those people fading away, it just, man, it was a heavy, heavy ending.
Oh yeah, I just remember being so on the edge of my seat the entire time, like, oh my god, who's gonna go next? Funny you mention all these theories. I've read a couple. I don't really read that much in depth because I just want to enjoy the movie when I see it. But the main one, or the favorite one I've seen so far, is they're trapped in the Soul Stone. Don't know how they get them out. So I found that interesting. And now that you mention it, Gamora without another film. I think I already said it to you as soon as I saw the movie. I was typing away it to you on Facebook. How I think Guardians 3, they're going to get all the other characters back somehow. But Guardians 3 is going to be kind of like the search for Spock in Star Trek, but the search for Gamora. And they're going to try and find a way the entire movie to bring her back.
Yeah, which would be cool.
That's just 100% my speculation. I've seen no one write that. That's just me. Or not the whole bring back, but the whole comparison to the search to Spock. But yeah, no, that ending, just every time I think about it, just gives me goosebumps, man. It's insane. But yeah, the other characters, Luque, Heimdall, and Vision, do you think they're permanent deaths, or do you think they're going to try and weasel their way back in?
No, I think they're permanent. Heimdall, especially because Thor now has the power of the Bifrost in his new weapon. So realistically, Heimdall is kind of not needed anymore because that was his one job. Loki, yeah, look, I think they've kind of come to the end of what they can do with that character. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I love the character and Tom's performance is amazing. But yeah, I think it's time that he's put to rest. Vision, probably because, yeah, although I don't know if anyone's going to come back, yeah, he probably would be powerful enough to do so. And I love your idea of Guardians 3 being the search for Gamora. Yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea. So, yeah, but, again, who knows? Yeah, I'm just going to kick back. I'm going to watch this movie for a year, and then, yeah, when the next one comes out, maybe be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, no, I agree. The whole Loki, that's the end of his story. It really does feel like that, because when the film started and he was starting to pretend to be like, I'll help you to Thanos, I kind of just rolled my eyes and was like, oh god, they're not doing this again. And then you saw him with the knife, and well, we all know how that played out, him getting his neck crushed, and he was not really going to do it. So yeah, that I think is the end of his story. Vision I can see coming back, but in like a new body, or the same body but without the memories maybe. But I don't think they'll do that. But if they do that, I can see them doing it, but I don't think it will happen. And yeah, Heimdall, he wasn't exactly a big character to begin with, so I don't see that coming back. And well, Gamora we've already talked about, and yeah, so I think they're likely all going to be permanent except Gamora, but I think again that's just because we're such big fans of that character, we're in denial. So Yeah.
I think Captain Marvel is going to play a really big role in whatever's going to happen. I mean, the fact that her symbol came up on the little communicator at the end or whatever, but I know, like, from what I do know, having seen, like, on-set pictures and stuff, and knowing that Captain Marvel is set in the 90s, yeah, I think there will be some kind of a time element going on, but... yeah, I don't know. It's all too much to think about for my tiny little brain. So, yeah, I'll just wait and see. But I do think something big is going to happen in Captain Marvel that's going to lead into the next Avengers film. That's, yeah, pretty much about as far as I want to speculate, really.
When that post-credit scene came on and it was clearly the Captain Marvel symbol, did many people in your screening, did they realize that was her, or did you hear people going, what is that? What does that mean?
Yeah, I think I was probably the only one who actually recognized what the symbol was. There was a lot of head scratching going on there.
In a way, I'm surprised by that, but in a way, I'm not, because we're very up to date with all the movie news, so we know what that means because we've seen all the screenshots of behind the scenes and everything that's going on there. But for the general public, I can kind of get that because there's not really been any hint of that so far whatsoever. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Another character I really wanted to talk about was Doctor Strange. When he fades away, I can't remember exactly what he says, but he basically says something to Tony Stark that he is the key to all of this or something. Do you remember exactly what he said?
Not exactly, but yeah, it makes you wonder, like, the 14 million and something, scenarios that he saw in the future where only one was winnable. I think that giving up the time stone was actually part of that winnable scenario. Because, he did say early on in the film that he would give up anything in order to protect it, even Tony and Spider-Man's lives. So yeah, when he just gave it up like that, I kind of thought, okay, yeah, that's probably part of the one winnable scenario. So yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
Do you think that means that Tony Stark is going to play a major role in Avengers 4? Because personally, I think that means he's going to have to somehow sacrifice himself for everyone else, but do you agree with that? Or
having watched that video I was talking about that Corey and Steve from Rewind Replay did, plug, they showed pictures of Tony Stark in a SHIELD director's uniform or something like that. And yeah, so, this theory is that something happens in an alternate timeline or whatever, and, maybe he's not actually Iron Man per se, maybe he's someone else. So yeah, which I dig, that would be like a really interesting and refreshing way to tell the story rather than just like, here's all these characters that you've seen, for the last 10 years. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to check out Rewind Replay's videos. Yeah, like Dan said, definitely check out. They're really cool guys. They know what they're talking about.
What was their channel called again? What was it?
Rewind Replay?
Ah, that's it. Rewind Replay. Yeah.
Is that not what I said? Or are you just doing extra plugging? You're confusing me now, man.
No, that was a gratuitous plug. I don't even know why. They don't deserve it.
Perfect. Right. Another big part I want to talk about, which we've not really mentioned yet, is the Dark Order, so the children of Thanos. I think that's what they were referred to in this. They were very mixed bag for me, because I liked all of them. I liked their presence. Two of them stood out more for me, which was Ebony Maw and the Midnight character. What was her name again?
Proxima Midnight, I think.
Yeah, Proxima Midnight, that's one. They're the two that stood out for me. The other two, I could have done with a bit more to their characters, especially the big guy. But I understand that they were just the minions. They weren't really the focus of the story, and this film already came in at 2 hours, 40 minutes, so you couldn't really add that much more time to it. I did like their presence as a group. It really worked for me, and just whenever they came on screen against one of the characters, like, oh crap, something bad's gonna happen. So yeah, they got their characters done really well. I didn't really like how fast Ebony Maw got killed off. Like, I liked how it was done, but the first time I saw it, I was expecting him to come back somehow, and then it cuts that shot where he's freezing in space, and it's just like, oh, well, he ain't coming back. But I would have liked to have had him more in the final fight, because I think he was the strongest out of them all when he was against Doctor Strange and Iron Man and the Hulk. No, wait, the Hulk wasn't in that yet. Bruce Banner, because he was no longer the Hulk. And Spider-Man, he was kicking their asses all over the place. And didn't even look like he was trying. And then all of a sudden they just blast him into space. Really cool, really liked how they did it. It's just, personally, I would have liked to have seen more of a fight before that.
Fair enough.
I don't know, what about you?
No, I again, I can't fault the film. Like, I thought everything was perfect. I don't think we needed backstories or anything for these characters. I think they were there to serve a purpose, and they served it well. They looked amazing. There were so many little moments that I really remember, like when Voldemort is going, like, chasing Doctor Strange through the city, and Spider-Man's going after him, but he's just kind of standing on something while he's floating along. Like, it looked creepy as hell, but yeah, just really awesome. And no, I liked, just the way that they used them. I liked the scene in Edinburgh, where Vision and Scarlet Witch are talking, and all of a sudden this blade just comes through him from out of nowhere. I just thought that was so freaking cool. Yeah, no, I really dug the way that they were used. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I really liked the way they were used. Like I said, I loved their presence on screen. I think it's just, I was wanting more from Ebony Maw's character, because I liked it so much, just his snide remarks and how he was like a really posh English, annoying posh English, but it was so good for his character. Like, from a filmmaking standpoint, I liked how it was done. It was a good character moment for Spider-Man, because it was kind of like in Civil War when he uses a Star Wars reference to take down Giant Ant-Man. This time he uses an Aliens reference to take down that guy. So I liked how that was done. Speaking of Spider-Man, actually, his death scene, or his fading away scene, or his fake death, whatever you want to call it, I still think he could technically be dead, and they'll bring in Miles Morales. Another video for another time, nothing to do with this one. But his death scene, Tom Holland, that I think was the best acted scene in the entire movie. Because just chills every time. Just like he's a scared child that's about to die, and he's like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to die. Yeah, that scene just chills every time, and I've heard many other people say that was the best scene by far, or at least the best acted scene. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was kind of hard for me, like, the first time I saw it, because I was just so gobsmacked at what was going on in that moment that, like, I recognized that his performance was great, but it wasn't until after the movie had come out and, all these people were talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, no, that was really good. And I paid more attention to it the second time I saw it, because I was able to sort of focus a bit better. And yeah, it was really great. Just the way that Tony was sort of cradling him and everything, like, it was just brilliantly directed, in a moment where just so much bad stuff is happening. It was a moment that really shone through. So yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, and I think it adds more layers, because if you watch Spider-Man Homecoming again, there's the scene where they're on the boat, and Tony Stark is, if someone died today, that would be on you. And then he also says, but if you died, that would be on me. And he's cradling him in this scene. So I just thought that was perfect foreshadowing in that movie. I don't know if they'd written it yet, but if they had, that was perfect foreshadowing from a franchise point of view. Yeah. I don't even look like you're going to say something. You're just like, that.
No, just that kind of blew my mind. Like, yeah, no, I'm just thinking about that bit in Homecoming now, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, it never even occurred to me. So, yeah, well done.
Yeah, I get points for that. Yeah. Just looking at my notes.
You newts.
Yeah, I think that basically covers everything I said. I don't know why I keep saying that today. I think I heard someone say it and it just got stuck in my brain. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. There's not really anything else that I really wanted to discuss. Don't know about you.
Thanos! Let's talk about Thanos!
Yeah, how could we go and not really talk about him? Yes!
I know!
You kicked that one off for us, buddy.
Yeah, look, I mean, as much as I vaguely touched on Thanos in my review, there were so many things that I couldn't talk about. I mean, I did say that he was this multi-layered character and, you know, one of these villains who, you know, believed in what he was doing was the right thing, even though it was really messed up. But yeah, God, from Gamora's death scene to just all the moments where he's getting beaten down, but he's got this kind of frustrated, angry look on his face, which, you know, and again, the CG was just, I've you know, come to the conclusion that between him and Gollum from Lord of the Rings, those are the two best CG characters we've ever had, because when I think of Thanos, I don't think of him as a CG character. I think of him as what he was in the film. But yeah, they really humanized the character. And that scene, you know, the flashback scene where he first meets Gamora as a child and takes her away, you know, when like the two sides of her population, you know, one half is about to get brutally slaughtered. That moment where he gives her the double-bladed knife and you know, while it's happening, he tells her not to look or whatever. Oh, man, like, how do you write that stuff? You know, that was so brilliantly done. There were just so many moments like that that made him such a deep character. And look, in all honesty, at first I was saying I thought he was almost as good as Darth Vader in terms of screen villains, but you know, honestly, and this is going to sound weird coming from a diehard Star Wars fan, but I honestly think Thanos was possibly better. I honestly think Thanos could very well be my number one most favorite on-screen villain in film history.
Wow, that's really saying something. And I know you would not put that lightly because you're a massive Star Wars fan. You have cardboard cutouts like all over your house. So yeah, no, I'm surprised you said that. You're gonna get a giant cardboard cutout of Thanos now?
No, but I actually did go online looking for. I found a standee of Gamora, and I was almost gonna buy that, like, you know, in tribute to her. But yeah, it was like it was gonna end up at well over $100, including postage, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't like her that much.
You'll find one somewhere cheaper someday. I'm sure you will. But yeah, no, Thanos was so good in this movie. I liked how there was so many different aspects to his character, like from the get-go, how he could go toe-to-toe with the Hulk and not even break a sweat, and how lightning quick he moved. I also liked how he never cracked a joke. He was really serious throughout the entire film, because I know a lot of people were saying if he's the next Age of Ultron, the next Ultron, they're gonna riot. Well, that was definitely not the case. He didn't. I don't think he had any jokes that I know of. He may have had one or two, but they were done in context where they were menacing as well. Like when he kills Luque, he says something to him like, "No respawning today," or whatever he says. Someone's gonna be really mad watching this right now that I can't remember. I've only seen it twice. I'm not good at quotes. Okay. Anyway, when he says that line there, that could be seen as a funny line, but the way they do it is really menacing, and that just reiterates that Loki's not coming back. And the fact that you could kill one of the favorite villains in the franchise in the first scene, big balls for this movie, and just really just reiterates how good Thanos is and how much of a presence he's going to have in this film. And like you said, there's a scene with Gamora where she dies, the tears in the eyes really added to his character. And the scene where Star-Lord finds out about Gamora's death, there was so much anguish and pain in his face when Mantis was holding him and trying to get his feelings. I don't know, it really added to that character, but in the way you could see how much of a monster he was, because when Peter Quill, when he was looking right at him face to face, you could see like he was a huge guy. His face is like the size of his entire upper body of a human being. And he's just making all these kind of like monster noises. It's so good. It just adds so many layers to that character. And I loved how the CGI was so much better, because before, when we saw him, he was really dark purple and kind of cartoony looking. And I think the first time we saw him, is it Josh Brolin? He wasn't even casted yet as him, so I like how they did that as well. How they kind of, I don't know, you could kind of see his jawline and his face in the character. I'm not going to argue with you about him being one of the best villains of all time. I think he definitely is, just based on everything he did. I don't know if I'd say he's better than Darth Vader. Yeah.
Well, for me, because, like, you know, Vader, I've got to get past the nostalgia factor as well. I mean, you know, Vader's been in my life since I was 4 years old. And, you know, while he was a cool character and a cool villain, he didn't have a lot of layers to him, like not a lot of depth. Like, he was pretty much, you know, just a bad guy throughout the whole thing. Like, it was cool in Empire Strikes Back, where we find out that he has a master, especially in Return of the Jedi, where you get to see him, you know, kneeling before someone. So I liked all that stuff, but in one movie, Thanos had that much going for him. I mean, in one movie, he was this guy who we almost feel for him. We almost sympathize with what he's doing, and we see that he has genuine emotions, and, you know, that it's difficult for him, like, to kill his, you know, adopted daughter in order to get what he wants, but he still did it. You know, there's things like that are just so deep. And yeah, I've got to give credit where it's due. Like, I mean, yeah, he doesn't have the cool black outfit or anything, but in terms of a developed character in one film, yeah, Thanos has got it.
Yeah, no, he was really well written, and I like how you can understand his point of view. Like, it's a horrible thought. You have to kill off half of an entire planet to make it just keep going, but in a way, I mean, I don't like saying it. It kind of makes sense. Like, I can understand his point of view. You know, it's horrible. And I just like how he manages to do that. He clicks his finger and half the universe just disappears. And then the final shot is him on some sort of farm, and he's just so at peace. That just gave me chills seeing that.
That's something. What was that? Like, some people are saying it was Titan, like that he reformed Titan to its glory days, or you know, like, yeah. What are your thoughts on that end scene of him, like, you know, in his salad years, in his cabin in the woods?
Oh, you mean like location-wise?
Yeah. What was going on there?
Well, personally, I think it's somewhere very remote on Earth, but, like, I don't know, part of me is like, that doesn't really make sense because he's not from Earth, but maybe, I don't know, it's really hard. It's such a in the middle of nowhere place. You can't really establish where it is because there's nothing, there's no creature, there's no birds, there's no nothing. You can't really tell where it is. It could be Titan, it could be Earth, it could be a planet we've never seen before. He could have just made a planet. So, I mean, he probably has that power now. It wasn't really the location, it was more the entire idea of him just being so at peace in that moment, even though he's killed trillions upon trillions of living humans, creatures, everything in the entire universe.
And that was another cool thing I thought, you know, that added to his character as well, was when he finally achieves his goal and he gets all 6 Infinity Stones, and yeah, obtains godlike powers. You know, he still just went through with his goal to eradicate half the Earth's population. Like, he could have done anything at all, but yeah, he wasn't I guess, abusing his power. Like, he was just sticking with his plan. So, yeah, I thought that added a lot to his character as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, and just that whole presence of his character, I really loved how it was done, because I kind of alluded to it in my review. The whole idea of every character in this film, every hero, you never feel like they're safe especially when Thanos is in the room, mainly because he killed off a major character in the first 2 minutes of the movie. So yeah, just perfect filmmaking, I think, and perfect character, because I can't really see how you could improve upon his character in this one movie. Every single scene he's in is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Ooh, that's actually a good question. Actually, I want to ask you. I just literally just thought of it right now. Are there any characters that were not in this movie that have been in a previous MCU movie that you would have liked to have seen, or you were surprised didn't show up?
Well, Fraser, I'm glad you asked, because yes, I'm a really big fan of Ant-Man. I loved that movie. It is up there in my top MCU films because, in a nutshell, I love to be entertained. I love to have fun at the movies, which is ironic because I loved Infinity War and that wasn't fun. But yeah, I loved his character so much, and he wasn't there. Hawkeye, while he's a minor character, he's pretty cool, mainly because I'm a Jeremy Renner fan. So, but yeah, Ant-Man was sorely missing, and I'm sure there's a reason for it, and I'm sure it's going to be explained in Ant-Man and the Wasp when that comes out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I found it hilarious that everyone was going on about Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye character beforehand. They're all like, he's going to be on a huge top secret mission that's going to be key to this entire movie. Personally, I found that hilarious because he's just the guy with the arrows. I don't see why he would be the chosen one to do that when all these other really powerful characters can't do that. But yeah, no, it's a good point about him and Ant-Man. I actually didn't think about Ant-Man, probably just because he has this movie coming out right now. The character, though, that I was surprised by, which I have not seen anyone mention, I was surprised he didn't show up, was Kraglin from Guardians of the Galaxy. Sean Gunn, his character, because he was on set, he was playing Rocket, but his character's nowhere to be seen, and the end of Guardians 2 made me think he's now a member of the Guardians team, but he doesn't show up at all.
Yeah, it's a good point, but I don't know, I thought his character was probably too exclusive to Guardians of the Galaxy. If that makes any sense. So maybe that's why they probably didn't bring him into this. And not only that, I mean, I can just imagine the writers sitting there, it's like, oh, we've got like 5 billion characters that we need to put in this thing. Here, have one more. So, yeah, there's probably reasons he wasn't there.
Yeah, no, okay, I'll give you that. I think that's just the diehard Guardians fan of me, just like, I want to see everybody. But yeah, no, I'll give you that one. Is there anything else you want to discuss that we've not mentioned in this video?
No, not really. I mean, they were the main things that I couldn't touch on in my review, was why the movie was so emotionally heavy, why Thanos was such a brilliant character. Those are kind of the main points. So, this feels good. It's out of my system now. It's out in the interwebs, and I'm feeling a sense of relief.
Me too. But just before we finish, I have one final question for you, which I wanted to save for last.
Uh-oh.
Do you think that this film will beat Avatar at the international worldwide box office for highest grossing movie of all time? Because currently it sits at $2.78 billion.
Yeah, look, I think the fact that this movie wasn't even out for a week and it grossed 640 million as of yesterday's figure, which by now, who knows what it's up to. Biggest opening weekend of all time. And not only that, just the quality of the film. I mean, I've been encouraging as many people as I can to go and see this film, and I know a lot of people have based on my recommendation, which is great. It's like one of these times that I'm so glad to have a YouTube channel. And yeah, I thought it was a better film. I mean, yeah, Avatar was a really good film. I wasn't one of those people that was like, oh my God, it's the best film ever. But yeah, this film just packed such a punch, and it's visually spectacular. It was just perfect to me. So, and it seems that you and I are definitely not in the minority in terms of loving this film. So I do think in due time, yeah, this movie will be the highest grossing movie in history, and I also think it deserves it.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. I like that answer. I think if it doesn't, I think if Avengers 4 is met with just as high reception, I think that might do it, because that'll be 21 films or whatever in the making, whereas this one is 17 or 18 films in the making. So yeah, I would prefer to see that as opposed to Avatar at the number 1 personally, but yeah.
I have a question for you, haha, that I just made up in my tiny little brain. In your eyes, do you think this movie will do as good as Avatar because there are 18 prequels that you kind of need to see in order to see it? Because, like, let's face it, Avatar was a standalone film, like the first chapter in what's going to be a saga. Whereas this one, you probably could watch it on its own, but it really helps to have seen all 18 films beforehand. So do you think that is going to be detrimental to its box office success, or nay?
I think that's a good question, by the way. But I think that will definitely help its cause that it's been 18 movies in the making. There's already such a huge fan base. People are going to see it for repeat viewings. Yeah, I think that's why I say if it's going to be any movie, it's going to be one of the Avengers films, because ever since this MCU, this Marvel Cinematic Universe, came into fruition, every single studio and film franchise is trying to emulate what they've done and do all these crossovers and story upon story, planting seeds. And yeah, I think that's going to help its case, because Avatar was kind of like a lightning in a bottle kind of situation, because 3D was really taking off. That was the first movie to make use of these IMAX cameras. So yeah, I think this has the best chance out of any to do that, because if Force Awakens didn't do it, I always said that this would be the movie to do it, and if this doesn't do it, I don't think any movie ever will. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. It answers it spectacularly well.
Well, fantastic. And on that note, I think we will end the video here. Do you want to tell them where they can find you before we finish?
They can find me sitting here in this room on this chair talking to my beloved followers. No. Well, if Fraser hasn't already dropped a link to my channel down in the description box, you can find me at Dan Jensen Movie Talk.
Of course, I will drop that channel in the description box. Only on the condition you do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression right now.
What do you want me to do Arnold Schwarzenegger impression for? You're putting me on the spot, Dylan. The CIA's got you pushing too many pencils. Nyah!
Okay, yes, so if someone could rate that out of 10, how good that impression was, that would be fantastic. But yeah, I'll leave the link in the description below. And yeah, so I'll end the video.
I can also
there.
do Sean Connery if you'd like to hear my Sean Connery. I can do Sean as well. Yes, Miss Moneypenny. This is actually an exclusive for your channel, Fraser, because I've never done a Sean Connery impression on my own channel before.
Okay, you kind of sound like Russian Sean Connery. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, maybe you should perhaps go fuck yourself.
We were gonna have a perfect ending there, but someone had to ruin it. So yeah, on that note,
Yes!
I'm keeping this in the video, by the way. On that note, hope you enjoyed this video. we enjoyed doing it. And yeah, as always, you can find me on this channel, Fraser Jubb. If you've not already subscribed, please do so. I love every single one of you in a normal way. Yeah, until next time, catch you later. Bye-bye.
Woohoo!